Trading Desk. I'm here again this week with Kerry Cotter of Lower D. Kerry, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you. Tell us a little bit about Lower D. Lower D is another social media company that you've started recently here in Bend. And I'd like to hear a little bit about your background first, how you got to Bend, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll go into the company.
Sure. We moved here about 3 years ago from Savannah, Georgia. Prior to that, I was in Southern Cal, and about 10 years ago, got married up here.
Yeah.
So the place always had a special place in the heart, and we tried the heat and the bugs, and that didn't work. So we did the
humidity and the stickiness.
Tried the mountain version. Yeah.
And before that, though, you also worked on Wall Street. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about your past business history? Because I think that's we are a trading show, and we like talking about investments. So talk a little bit about your previous life, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for about 14 years, I worked for some investment banking firms down mostly in Southern California. Half the time I was spent doing institutional equity sales, and the last 6-7 years I was working doing investment banking, so bringing companies public, doing venture-backed deals, M&A work.
So when you say institutional equity sales, what does that mean to the viewer? Again, because most people don't understand the inner workings of Wall Street. There's a lot. You have traders, you have buy side, you have sell side, you have what were you doing? What did that entail?
Well, it was basically we had a bench of research analysts following different industries.
Okay.
And writing research, following their financials and kind of overall fundamentals of their respective areas. And so there were mutual fund managers and hedge fund managers that would, in essence, pay us for that research. So I would call up Fidelity Investments and say, we have some research on this particular company. Yeah. They would listen to it or they wouldn't.
So you guys had some proprietary, again, you had some guys doing the hard, heavy lifting, as I call it, where they go in and look at the fundamentals of the business, of the industry, and you'd make some recommendations based on that. Hey, we think there's some value here, and you'd go and sell that research, as you said, to the institutions. So, and then you got into the investment banking side, which again is back to probably raising money, working on deals, and then selling those. The money that you raised, you would put into the companies, and then eventually bring them public. And that's really the process that investment bankers do. They look for value, they put together money, and then they look to sell it to the public ultimately. Is that pretty accurate?
That used to be the plan.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, obviously the IPO market has dried up quite a bit here, but that's the idea.
Yeah, but that's basically the formula. Is that you have some entrepreneurs that, at least technology-wise, who would come up with an idea. They'd either get some venture funding initially, depending on how good they were, and then they'd try to get to a point of some critical mass where the old formula was you'd be able to go public. Now that's a little bit tougher, and so a lot of times the exit strategies are selling to other larger companies.
So with your background, obviously, and understanding the way the financial and the capital markets work, you probably had some access to some capital, and you've been involved with some software companies over the past few years. So I'm curious how you make that transition from a banker to the other side of the table. Why don't you talk a little bit about how you made that transition and how you're making that now, and then we'll talk after the break a little bit more about Lower D.
Sure, that'd be great. It was in 1999. I got together with one of my clients at the time, and they were working on some new technology. So I came up with the idea of, well, how about if we package it up and spin it out into another company? So the CEO and myself decided to do that, and I said, if you'll spin it out, I'll go find some money for you. So literally it was the sign of the times, but show you the process was we decided to do that, filed the papers of incorporation, and 30 days later we'd raised $30 million. So at that
what
time,
year was that?
There was we actually closed the deal mid-March of 2000.
Peak.
So as a trader, that
total
was
peak.
Peak of the NASDAQ.
So you guys were out there talking where the money was.
Top ticked it. It was I sent back probably $40 million, but we closed on $39 million.
Wow.
For something really was just a business plan. It was the
oversubscribed.
It was the largest Series A round in Southern California history at the time.
Wow.
It was a seed round for $39 million.
So you had some successful deals on the other side of the table.
Right.
And I want to, lower D is where you are now. So talk a little bit about what the company is about, and then we'll go to break and get into the meat of it.
Great. It's earlier this year we're trying to figure out how to take advantage of some of the growing trends out there, and a couple of those are the growth and the acceptance of mobile devices.
Yeah.
With the advent of iPhone, it's kind of become plausible to do some computing on a phone these days. So thanks to Apple trying to get the ball rolling there. So we said mobile devices, everybody has a mobile phone, people are running around.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
Social media.
And the other piece being the numbers behind text messages. 80% of text messages get read within 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And then social media being, that's where everybody's at. And so it's mostly been historically, a couple people sharing some pictures about
Right.
the kids, but over the last 6 or 12 months that people have started to realize there's some potential business benefits there.
Right. So hold that thought,
Yep.
because I want to take a break here. When we come back to the trading desk, we're going to talk more about lower D, social media, Twitter, mobile phones. Again, this has been a common theme on the trading desk, and I'd like to continue the conversation with Carrie when we come back.